Just a second. All right, everyone. So I'd like to welcome you to our last online meeting for this program. We are planning other programs in the future, and hopefully we will see you there. So, like I said, this is our final meeting for this program. We will make a short review about our weekly program. And Sarah, do you like to say anything? Anything to add? You're on mute in case you're saying something.
I said, go ahead and begin, share your screen, and then we can, I will interact with you in a little bit.
All right. All right. So like we said, this is our final meeting. I would like to begin with a short reminder about our communication culture in Israel. We started with recorded sessions regarding the Israeli culture. The first one and the second one was regarding mostly geography and public transportation. Now, we like to remind you that in Israel, our way of communication is normally by a direct communication. So people will refer to you by your first name. You probably noticed that we refer to you by your first name. And you can do that as well. I'm sorry about the noise. And of course, I recommend to ask your employer how they like to be called. But in normal, just be aware that we use direct communication. Now, in Israel, we can be very friendly, touchy between friends and family. It's acceptable, okay? But it's very important that you will put your boundaries. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, if someone would like to hug their family of the employer or something like that, you should say if it makes you feel uncomfortable, and you should put your boundaries. Okay, I just want you to know it's a normal behavior. It doesn't mean that they mean harm or anything like that. Okay, just put your boundaries, and of course use your intuition. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, if it feels inappropriate, say, okay, please say so. And now another thing, Israeli use body language quite a lot. Like normally we use our hands, head, other body language gestures, and people sometimes speak loud voice. The tones are very loud. It doesn't mean that they yelling or hungry, or sometimes it's just the tone. So hopefully don't be afraid of their the way they communicate. All right, now on like I said, on our second recording session that we said, we spoke mainly on geographic, and Rafkav was one of the things that we said about public transportation. So Rafkav is a multi-line that you you charge it with money. You have money that you put is more ecological. Ecology. Yeah, I said it correct.
Right?
Yeah. So we're not using, mostly we're not using paper anymore. We use this card for public transportation. Now you have 3 different cards. One is personal. You have a semi-anonymous and anonymous card. Now you get it, you can get those cards in a central bus station or train station. Your employer or placement agency will probably help you to get it. The Rav-Kav, the personal Rav-Kav, it's free of charge, okay? And the money you put in it will be saved. So if the card is damaged or stolen, or something will happen, in case you won't be able to use this card anymore, you can go to you can go to an office of Rav-Kav, or call them, and they will give you a new card with everything you had on this card. They will transfer it to a new card. In case you need to get a new card, you pay a one-time fee, which is 10 shekels. It's not a lot. Now, the semi-anonymous and anonymous, it's like it sounds, it's not personal. So in case it will be stolen or damaged, they won't be able, you don't have the insurance. They won't be able to put your money that you had in the card, in the old card, in the new one. Okay, now there's a lot more information about Rav-Kav. Right after our meeting, I will send you a link. Okay, there is an app for Rav-Kav, and then you'll get the information, and there's this app and link I'm gonna send you. I want to add that the semi-anonymous and anonymous card, the fee to buy those cards is 5 shekels. Like to remind you that the personal, you don't pay any fee. Sarah.
Okay. So I will also review the presentations that I was part of in the last week that we had our talks together. So we spoke about what are the basic values in caregiving work, just to remind us: human dignity, autonomy, tolerance, empathy, compassion, and all of that makes up our care. Our basic tools box, this is our personality, and the more we we use our personality in order to guide us, the better caregivers we are. Next slide. Anat. Next slide.
I said that I pressed it already. It may take a second.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's slow. Yes.
Okay. So we talked about intercultural encounters, right? Intercultural differences are differences in tradition, food, norms, beliefs, values, which vary between nations and people and ethnic groups and speakers of different languages. Okay, we talked about that. Every culture has its own way of expressing itself. Every culture has its own ways of defining conflict, passing messages, resolving conflict, and talking about it. Every culture has its own ways to express emotions and to talk about emotions. I want to say some things that perhaps I didn't mention in the previous sessions that we had about, your responsibility as a caregiver. Once you begin your work, in the beginning, we spoke about forming a relationship and making contracts and talking about expectations and so on. I think that you should be very mindful of taking a notebook and writing down all of the things you are expected to do, and also things that you should ask your employer is about medication and other things that are necessary for you to be in charge of. So you have to be mindful of the fact that if the medication runs out, then you are responsible for refilling it. So you have to find out exactly how you do that, how often it happens, if you need to have a new prescription refilled, if there is all kinds of products in the home like diapers and creams and ointments and other things, shampoos. So all of the things that need to be provided for the care of your patient or client, then basically you need to know when it needs to be replenished to keep an eye out so that they don't run out and then go into a panic that you don't have anymore. And all of that information, you should ask your someone in the family or your client if he is managing his own issues, and make a list of all of those things and write it down in your calendar, when to check it and so on. Highly recommended to make, like a daily schedule or a weekly schedule of what needs to be checked, what needs to be done, how often things need to be, washed or bought, or, all of those things. It will be a responsibility to maintain, the home, the medicine, and all of the products that are necessary for your client's well-being. And so it's best to ask and be one step ahead of his needs. Next slide, Anat. I can't hear you, you're on mute.
I would like to ask if everyone heard what you said, because here on my side, the screen was frozen, so I couldn't hear you. Did everyone heard what Sarah said?
It's clear.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. Okay. Now you can hear what you heard before?
Yes, ma'am, we hear the discussion.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I'm glad.
Next screen. What did we talk about? Remind me, and we will remind all of us together. Okay, this is your visa and visa extension issues, Anat. We can't hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Sorry, it's pretty loud in here.
Okay, I hear you now.
Good. But I apologize about the barking in the background, if you can hear it. All right. So in some of the slides, we spoke about the visa and visa expansion. Now, I recommend to go back to this recording, like all of our recording that we sent you, because there is a lot of information, and we couldn't squeeze everything here on this slide on our final meeting. So I'll just remind you several things. On your agreement, you here for 51 months. Okay, now during this time, you're planning to be in with hopefully one employer. In case of if you'll have or want to exchange your employers, be aware that PIBA is making sure that you're not doing it too much. Okay, it will affect your visa. and you may have to go back home. Now, on your visa, you will have the geographic area where you're allowed to work. Okay, it's very important, but keep in mind that you are more than welcome to travel all over Israel. Okay, it got nothing to do with your visa. And now, regarding the employment, when you are up to your final year, 12 months before you're getting to the 51 month, okay, in case you're not with the same employer, I want to make it clear. If you'll be less than 12 months with a new employer or not more than a year, you won't be able to extend your visa. If you are staying with one employer 12 months and more, 13, 12 and a half even, and in case your employer still need your care, they're not moving to any facility, or hope they didn't pass away, they will be able to extend your visa, contacting FIBA and your placement agency. Okay, now in case you still have left 12 months or 11 and a half and you're without an employer, your option will be to go, like, you contact your placement agency and you'll be able to, or they'll probably use your help with going to different employers. So you will replace caregiver who is going on holiday or vacation. Now, leave or change employers. So if you like to leave your employer, it should be after you made a genuine and sincere attempt to carry on with the same employer. If you have any difficulties, if something is wrong, remember that I asked you, how do you react to different, I know, if you have any feelings, if someone hurt you, if something is bothering you, you should talk to your employer or a member of the family. Okay, don't hold it inside. We don't want you to explode and then decide to leave. Be patient also with your employer. Okay, sometimes they will run late for several days with your salary or something. Just be patient and in touch. Okay, keep an open communication. Now, in case you decide you want to leave your employer, okay, you don't need to ask her permission. Okay, you just need to check in your contract. It says how long in advance you need to give your prior written notice. Okay, your when by the law you're be able to leave, because you need to give them a prior notice. Okay, and then you have time where you will have to stay. You need obviously to talk with your placement agency and sort everything out. Okay, and they will help you to find a different employer. Okay. Okay, so what we talked about, we spoke about special obligations, period of prior written notice for caregivers. Okay, we spoke about the geographic limitations or change of employer or caregivers. Okay. In case they ask to replace you, also contact your placement agency. Okay. I hope it will not be necessary and nothing like that would happen, but sometimes it does if I know the chemistry is not there or something is not working. And it's not because of you personally. Sometimes the employer is very hard to let someone new in. Okay. Now we spoke about special supervision of foreign caregivers with frequent changes of employer. Like I said before, people may deport you if they will see that you're moving from one employer to the other. Okay, so just be aware. We spoke about requirements concerning registration by foreign caregiver placement agencies. And due to COVID-19 situation, it is important to be aware of new guidance of Ministry of Health. So they update their website frequently. I recommend to go in and have a look. Beside that, if you remember, I mentioned several times that when you register to the call center, okay, they will send you new information. Okay. Now, this is how you, you see, right? Okay. So this is how you leave a complaint. Okay. You need to contact and you speak with the translator. It will probably be Mel, which she sent you some messages on Viber already. And you send the document, the complaint is investigated. Okay. Now, again, I recommend to register to our call center because we're available. We're here for you. She speaks Tagalog, and I think it will be easy to communicate with her. We are here for you. Sarah?
Right.
Right.
We talked about building and developing the relationship with our patient, right? We spoke about creating good communication, coordination of expectations, building trust, creating the caregiving alliance, right? The partnership, right? Of what it is they expect and what it is we expect and what it is we need and so on. Creating the caregiving alliance and taking account social and cultural components. And like Anat said, different culture, be very sensitive to, you know, sounds, smells, the way people respond and react. Also, all those things that we spoke about, nonverbal communication, body language, and so on. All of those things, very important. What's on our next slide, Anat? Okay, tools for effective communication. Understanding how others communicate can be the key to getting our message across. And in order to develop effective communication style, a few tips to keep in mind. Take ownership, use the I statement, maintain eye contact. We talked about how important it is to maintain eye contact. Voice your needs and desires confidently, and not to forget to smile. Very important. Let's see everybody smile. Okay. You get everything if you, and you know, you get so much more out of life if you smile. You start the day by smiling and you continue all day long, really. If you haven't had that experience yet, take my advice. When you smile, the whole world smiles back, usually.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay. So we talked about effective listening, active listening. and not making judgments, right? We want to know what our client's opinion is. And we have to be very careful about, you know, everybody has preconceived notions about, you know, about other people, about young people, about Filipinos, about Asians, about Israelis, about old people. Everybody has, you know, prejudices and preconceived ideas. And, you know, even myself being an older person, I have preconceived ideas about older people. Everybody's different, right? But the point is that we have to be sensitive and minded and not to make judgments. And we want to make real relationships and be open and put all of our preconceived ideas on the side, not allow them to influence us in a real way. Okay. We want to use reflection in order to make sure that we understand what our client and the people around us are trying to communicate to us. Okay, so we use sentences by, you know, that clarify what we heard, what we understand. And I also say again that I find that it's very helpful to repeat what a person has said in order to make sure that he knows that he has been heard. We want to use empathy to try to empathize with our patients. Sometimes it's difficult. If they're in pain, if they're stressed, if they're, you know, sad and so on, we want to be empathetic. Sometimes it's difficult to understand what it is they're going through, but we want to make an effort. And of course, again, we stress using the I message. Very important to be present in the way that you are, okay? Not to try to minimize yourself. Next slide. We talked about patience. Very important to be patient with your client and of course his family. Very often it's not a client, you know, one individual. Very often it's the entire family that has to be dealt with. And I also, if you remember, recommended that you try to build a relationship with other family members, also to help you do a better job, better understand, you know, what the needs are, and also for them to help you in other ways. Okay, perhaps if you have difficult situations, they can, you know, help you solve the issues. So find out who the ones that want to be involved or that have a specific task in the maintenance and care of your patient and client, and maintain a contact with them. Use WhatsApp, send them a report every once in a while, and so on. We want to be tolerant, okay? Try to respect our client's opinion, even if we don't agree. And of course, there is all that issue about the nonverbal communication. When talking to a patient, maintain eye contact, try to speak at eye level, and relax your speech and calm your tone of voice. And you must know that, you know, even though we don't use words that express anger, tension, or any kind of negative feelings, our body and tone and manner usually projects it, even if we don't want to. So we want to find all the different ways to make ourselves strong, healthy, relaxed, and so on. Next slide. So tips for creating good relationship, okay? Be mindful of how you start a conversation, ask open questions, use the I statement, be specific in the message that you want to transfer, and give the others the attitude that you want to receive. I think everything in life is about that, you know? Treat others as you want to be treated. That is the secret in everything, in every relationship, no matter where you are in the world.
All right, so I would like to talk to you about culture shock. When you arrive to a different country and a different culture, which our culture is quite different, some people say, just be aware that shock may occur, or already happened to you. And by the way, it's not necessarily our, just when you're moving abroad, when you go and live in a new different country, sometimes it's hard for some people who is not used to it, for especially the one who this is their first time. Okay, so just give yourself some time to adjust. Okay, now this is a lifetime opportunity for those who've been in other countries, and for those who are here for the first time. It's an amazing thing, and you have an opportunity.
Matt, you disappeared. Are you with us? Your internet
Yes,
is
I'm
kind of
with you.
okay. Your internet kind of
Weak. Can
yeah,
you hear me
okay.
now? Can you see
Right.
me?
We're all together now. Yes.
Okay. So I'll go back. Like I said, moving to a new different country, for those with their first time, or the ones that are moving from one country to the other, it's an amazing opportunity to live in a new different culture, to get to know a different culture. It's like I said, an amazing opportunity. So I recommend to just be a tourist, travel in Israel, travel in the area you're at, learn about the country, about our culture, read about it, connect other people, speak with others, not only your co-workers, other caregivers. I recommend to speak to others as well and make connections and new relationships and new friends for life. And now study the local language, learn Hebrew. It will help you communicate with your employer, but it will also help your self-esteem to get around here in Israel. And so I recommend, and I like to remind you that we recommended on Duolingo app, which is very good for learning new language, but there are other free apps as well. And of course, you can find other apps that they charge money. I recommend, if you decide to go to this kind of app where you need to pay a fee, please check it out, check the reviews online, just to make sure that it's worth it. Because there are many things on YouTube even that will teach you in an easy and friendly way how to communicate in Hebrew and the Hebrew language. Now, like I said before, please develop social life and meet new people. Be proactive about your physical health. Yesterday, Nifa said that she do exercise in a room on a daily basis, which is very good. I recommend. And pay attention to your diet, hygiene, get regular rest. It's important to rest. Your work is not going to be easy. So like we said, exercise and relax, okay? Now, Sarah said before, keep a diary and even write a blog in social media. It could be nice. But I want to make sure that you remember about taking photos of your employer. Ask them, keep their privacy, and ask them if it's okay to take their photos and if it's okay to upload. If they won't be able to communicate and share their opinion, you can also ask their family members. Now, keep in touch with your family and friends, and when you have events back at home, okay? It's very important to stay and maintain those relationships with your family and friends. So if possible, you can add it to your daily routine before you go to bed. Or if you have kids, you can talk to them after school, or call them in the morning before they go to school, just to make sure that they're up. Like, stay present in your family and friends' life. Okay. Now, the communication with family in distance. We spoke about that it's hard to maintain those contacts. So I like to add that, like I said before, keep on a specific time during the day, or a specific hour, or how long you're gonna speak to them, and make sure to keep in touch. Okay, this should be a high quality communication without interference, okay, including household worries, because your family, they will need you, okay, even though you're abroad, they need to feel that you're there for them as well. Make sure that, just let them know that you're there, and if you need time to speak with your family, it's important that you will block a time where you give your attention to your family. Okay, so if it happens where your employer is asleep, I think it will be a good time to talk to your family, and it will be quiet enough. Try to avoid sorting out the relationship claims by correspondence, like messages. I recommend, if necessary, please do it online. Okay, normally when you communicate by text messages, it doesn't go through the way you want it, the message that you're trying to say. Sometimes it's harder to express ourselves, so do it on online videos with your families. Okay, now I like to know if you have any questions. I can, in a second, I will read the questions that we received on the form that we send you. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, okay? Now, I'll start with reading what we received. So, regarding to the expenses in our employer's house, where we are staying, is the agreement is between us and the employer, or we need to talk first with our agency? So the agreement is between you and the employer, okay? You signed on an agreement. So you have everything written down there. But if you had any difficulties or anything, you can contact your placement agency and they will help you in need, okay? Also, regarding with the benefits, medical insurance, if going for a checkup monthly, I'm not sure that I understood that. If it's free or salary deduction, how much will it be? So there are two things, two insurance. One that the employer pay, and the other one is a card for that you pay on a monthly basis, where you can get the service for any medical thing that you can possibly need, which is Kupat Cholim, and we have three. Sarah, how do I say Kupat Cholim? Translate?
I think it's just our national, we have three national insurance companies that are 3 or 4, but there are 3 basic ones, and you can choose any one that you want to be a member of. And how much they pay is probably the minimum, and then you're entitled. Yes.
So it depends, because you have the regular, like in Clalit is one of those companies. You have different cards, different
There are
plans.
different levels of insurance that you
Yes,
can
thank you.
pay for, but I don't know. This is a question that I didn't know the answer for. So you're telling us, all of us, and me included, that the workers need to pay for their own insurance benefits?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
just like everyone else in Israel?
yes.
So that means that
exactly.
you will probably be paying the minimum, and you can buy a policy that is the minimum policy or an extended policy. And the information about which one would be to your benefit is something that you will have to check online. I'm not sure that I know all the different specifics. I would assume that a minimum policy would be enough for your needs, unless you have special health issues. But assuming that you're a healthy person, then the minimum insurance package will be plenty for you. And that includes all medication and all doctor visits and any other service you may need. Sometimes there is a charge for seeing specialists. If you need a consultation for a specialist, you can see one, I think, 3 times a year within the insurance policy. And if you see someone else, then there is participation. But all of the details of the policy, you would probably have to see online, or once you go into the one of the clinics, and they will probably give you a brochure in English that explains all of the benefits that are involved.
I like to add that it's not very expensive. It actually not expensive. Those insurance, it's approximately like somewhere between 30 and something shekels to 100. It depends on the insurance you like to buy. Now, I like to add before that, like I said before, you have another insurance where the employer is paying for, which is
ביטוח לאומי?
לא ביטוח לאומי, מנורה, מבטחים, הראל, כל אלה.
Insurance company.
Yeah.
Private insurance companies, not national insurance companies,
Yeah.
that your
Yeah.
employer will pay for a policy for you.
Exactly. So you have that as well. Now, regarding monthly, let's see, I want to make sure
Pocket
that
money?
I'm not missing how much. Yeah, allowance, but before that, not for the, okay. So do they pay us when we will not go for a day off and stay? And how much would it be? So you are, they can ask you to not take a day off. Some, as I know, when Nympha said, are taking 1 day off, and then they will pay extra. It's around 150% more for this day off. If you're not gonna take it, I recommend to check with your employer and placement agency that can help you see regarding the percentage, how much is it. And the other option is that they will ask you to take a day off instead of your regular day off that you're taking. In case you're taking, for example, in case you're taking your day off on Sunday, they may ask you to work on particular Sunday and take it on another way at the same week. So just talk to your employer and see how you work it out between two. Okay. Now, regarding to allowance, on a weekly allowance, so also you should talk to your employer, okay, and they will they will give you a monthly allowance. From what I've heard, a lot of the employers give 100 shekels a week, but I guess it's different from one employer to the other. Okay, so you should just talk to your employer and settle it just for you to understand when you receive. If you have a day, like you know that every Sunday you will receive your allowance, okay, you will get it. Regarding your insurance, I'm sorry, I forgot something. They are entitled to get it out from your salary, like salary deduction, and the maximum will be 25% from your salary. Okay. And now, before I will move to the next questions, which is a very good question regarding our relationship with the Palestinians, does anyone like to ask anything else regarding to our presentation and work?
Not, if I may, I would just like to add something to what you just mentioned related to deduction. So just for you to take to know, we shared with you a record where we discussed it in details, all the extras, potential extras to your salary, what the salary included, also all the deductions, and then we mentioned that one of the deductions is also medical insurance, and as Anand just said, it's all the deductions, they're up to 25%. But you need to know that the allowances are in different category. Yeah, they should be deducted, separately. So when you calculate about 25% deductions, it includes taxes and national insurance, medical insurance, but your allowance is a different category. So let's say you should receive after deductions 75%, the least, yeah, maybe more. And then from this 75%, you need also to deduct the allowance that you will receive / take during the month. So it's also up to you at some point to coordinate with your employer and say, if you prefer to save a bigger sum, that you need less. Maybe in the beginning you need it more. Maybe with the time you might need it less. But in any case, you need to know that if you receive monthly allowance or weekly allowance, whenever way it will work for you and your employer, that it will be deducted from 75% or from the rest of the regular by law deductions.
Thank you, Margarita. Now I like to open our conversation to your questions and concerns if you like to add anything else. So I'd like to invite you. Anyone like to add anything? Okay, hi Jolene. I saw that you raised your hand.
Journaling daw. Hi, ma'am. I'm Mary Ann.
Hi. Yes, please.
Transfer. Can we transfer to another employment agency?
Yes, you can. If you like to change your placement agency, that's what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's possible. As long as the other placement agency is registered with PIBA, that they authorize.
Okay, thank you. How about is dental is included in our medical?
Again, please. Couldn't hear you.
Is dental is included in our medical?
Dental. If you have the national insurance, the answer is yes.
No.
Hey, no. First of all, I would like I'm sorry, so sorry
Sorry,
for
hi.
interrupt, and I also have a music background, but I hope you can hear me. So first of all, when we talk about the different type of medical insurance, it's something that from the government subsidized, but don't mistake it with national insurance, which are for when the use of National Insurance Institute. Yes, something different. Now, related to the medical insurance and dental, it's not covered by the regular insurance. And Sarah mentioned before when she talked that you can choose and more upgrade insurance. Yeah, it will cost you more money, but still it will include some subsidy, but not all the dental treatment. So it's cheaper most of the cases to take care of your dental abroad. Of course, if you have emergency situation, something else, but you'll need to, and it's still cheaper to go, to the dental services under this clinic and not to the private doctor. But you need to know that you will need to pay for this treatment, and it's not small amount of money. So better to be healthy, as in all the generally speaking in life, but for this matter as well.
Thank you, Margarita.
By
Great
the way,
addition.
I do recommend you again just to go over the recordings, because I can hear that we understand that we provide many information and details, and it's difficult to to remember everything at the same time. But it's just it has a lot of information that's worth to maybe to listen again.
Hi, Ma'am Anat.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I become confused because the POA, like the counterpart of PIBA, I asked before that if we can transfer agency here in Israel. They told us that we cannot transfer.
You can.
Again, I couldn't hear you very well.
You can change the agency generally.
Yes,
Maricela,
we said that you
sorry.
can.
Yes, you
The
can.
answer is yes. You can change agency.
As long as it has a special license from PIBA, you can change whenever you interested. But
You're entitled.
It should be yeah. And yeah, you can do it. It's not that you came and you're forever stuck with the same agency. No, there is a list of licensed agencies, and you can switch in case you need. You might not need, yeah, who knows? Nifa, for example, told you that she switched employer, but she stood with the same agency. But if she would be interested, potentially she can switch, of course.
Okay.
Thank you for your question.
Another question.
Yes.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I understand the 100 allowance will be deducted in our salary. Is that right, ma'am?
Margarita, I couldn't hear again.
I heard, yes. So the question was if 100 would be deducted. Yes, it would be deducted, and it would be deducted separately, not within 25%, as I said before. If you're receiving the allowance, it will be deducted, and it would be deducted after the government deductions that should be done by law. If you won't receive allowance, then nothing would be deducted. But if you will receive, it would be deducted.
We want would be deducted. We don't want.
By the way, it's not. There's no rule about 100. It can be 150. It could be 0. It all depends also on what you will coordinate with your employer.
It's just like advance salary.
Exactly. Allowance is in advance, and that's why it should be deducted.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions that comes in mind? All right, so we can continue to the second question we received on our relationship with Palestinians. So I guess it depends who you're asking, because each and every one of our Israelis or citizens here have different feelings regarding our relationship. They see, and I bet you can ask the Palestinians and they will say the same. We're just a mixed citizens here in Israel. And we're talking about the ones also outside the borders. So I guess it's a complex, you'll get a complex answer you will receive, because for some, they will feel different things. Don't believe everything said on the news, because we're not everyone will relate to whatever is saying over the news. There is not hatred the way it may sound. A lot of the people who live here in Israel just looking for a better life and not planning to, like, they don't want to fight. So I guess it depends. Some will feel, some that were hurt or experience things, it may make them feel in a different way regarding to different cultures here in Israel, and there are many, and not just Palestinians, Arabic, Muslim, Christians, Baha'i. We're a very mixed and unique country here. So, like I said, it depends who you ask. Dear colleagues, is there anything that you like to add about our relationship with Palestinians?
I would like to say that from my work experience, I will say that there are many people that work in the caregiving profession and in medical profession altogether that are of Palestinian or Arab background in Israel. And you will probably come across them in different aspects of your day-to-day life in terms of physical therapists, nurses, aides, attendants, and so on. If you have the experience of going to the hospital, you'll see that there are many doctors and a lot of professional people that come from that background. And, you know, the kind of friendships and relationships that everyone forms is on a human basis, right? So unless you're involved in any political issues on your own, you know, if you, then you should have, you know, probably no issues in terms of conflict or you know, or anything else. Like Anat said, you will probably come in contact with people of different backgrounds, Christian, Jews, Arabs, Muslims, whatever, on a business kind of a level. And if you have an opportunity to make friends, you know, I encourage you to do so. And exactly, and learn about, you know, different cultures and make your own opinions about politics. But you will find that, you know, the Israeli society is very much intermingled, intertwined with everyone working together, especially in the caregiving field.
I agree. And don't forget, we're all human beings, and we're different. So you could find wonderful people in every culture. And I recommend to make those connections. Margarita, anything you like to add?
Maybe something just to what you mentioned, that also we should maybe mention that, you know, there are different levels, and we can't, you know, ignore also the political level, because sometimes it all affects, you know, our just daily life. It's more related to security status, but, you know, from time to time, as you can hear in media, there are some situations that we need to be more careful, because, you know, some actions being taken by both sides, and you know, in those periods, we have a service here in Israel which called National Front Command, and it provides us with instructions, you know, how, you know, what we should do in case we hear a siren. And it's also important for you maybe to they provide these instructions in English as well, and it's important for you maybe to you know, take a look and to know in case this happened, because you know, again, you're not taking care only of for yourself but also for another person. So maybe it's also worth to mention that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning it.
Anyone have questions?
Regarding to this subject, or
Politics, love, food, anything at all.
Janeline, you raised your hand again?
Sorry, ma'am. Still about agency.
Yes.
May I know what is the process for transferring to another agency? Do we need to ask permission to the first agency?
Margarita,
can you please?
Yeah, there is no, you don't need to ask someone's permit. If you specifically will ask the permit of your previous agency, in most cases you probably won't receive it. So why would you do that? Yeah. No, you allow and say for some, you know, we can also say it's maybe less complicated than employer, in terms of, you know, the agency is not depends on you the same way the employer depends on you. But you do need to inform, and you can, you know, you can also go on, as I said, register to another agency. So yeah, that's basically, but it, you know, if you're staying with the same employer, maybe you know, you both need basically to go and register with another agency, right? Because you know, you not be taken care of. So yeah, you need to inform your previous agency, and you need to go and sign up, register with another agency, but not you shouldn't ask a permit or approval from your agency that you're probably not satisfied with. In case, again, we're talking about hypothetical situation, I understand, but in case it happens, it probably happens, you know, for the reason that you're not, you know, you need a change, you're not satisfied with that.
How about, ma'am? Do we need to pay the new agency for helping us to give a new employer?
Well, the same way you should pay to the agency, the old agency, for giving you a new employer. So the fee, the payments are the same one. You don't need to pay extra, but in case you're asking, you know, for something new, or you ask for a service, of course you need to pay for the service.
Okay, daw. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. I just wanted to say, you know, not everything should be clear now, but it's not our last opportunity to communicate. Yeah, you have a call center, you have a group. So whenever you know, come up with a more specific question on a very specific situation, you know how to contact us. Please do that, and we're happy to provide you the most updated and correct information specifically to your situation and to your inquiry.
So, ma'am, so if ever we want to transfer employer, we can choose more than one agency. Is that right, ma'am?
If you want to transfer employer, you don't have to start to choose all the new agency. You can go to a new employer with the same agency. But in case you need to switch agency, yes, you can choose a new agency from all the licensed agencies that have, you know, special license from PIBA. So
So
yes,
more than one agency.
you're free to choose any each agency from the list of licensed agencies.
Free. So more than one, ma'am, can.
There are more than one or two or three licensed agencies, and you can choose, you know, any agency that you're interested to work with.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Any other questions before we move on? All right. So we stay in touch. As we mentioned many times before, I strongly recommend to register our call center. Just a reminder that you should do it with your Israeli SIM card. If you don't have an Israeli SIM card yet, you can do it when you get it. Okay, your card, you can register then. The link we send you on Viber is valid, and you can use it. You can register through this the link. Okay, and you have also a tutorial guide to help you understand how to register if you find any difficulties. Now, you can always call our call center. Okay, you have the number here, and you can use our online website. You have the Viber group. Okay, don't forget that you are more than welcome, and I strongly recommend to use our call center. It's a great help. Okay. And like I said, somewhere in the beginning last week, that I recommend to register now. Don't wait till you will have to reach them an SOS case, okay? Register in advance and make sure you know how to use this tool. All right. So, we would like
to allow me, maybe it's also opportunity to just mention something that you need to be careful with. You know, you will meet probably in Israel many people. Some of them actually can be also even from your community that will suggest you how to help and charge, you know, some money for this help, you know, find agency, find employer. We strongly recommend you to not use those services, let's call it this way, even though it will be, you know, presented as a very, very pure intention, wish for you to help. But I think it's important for you to remember that, you know, you have free of charges professional services, and also being supervised and implemented by government. Yeah, because basically call center is even though it's activated by NGO, but it transfers all your complaints or requests directly to the government, and government, you know, take care of those complaints or requests with the whole responsibility and also authority that the government has, you know, but not like private people.
Thank you, Margarita. All right, everyone. So I like to wish you the best of luck. Enjoy your stay, your unique stay here in Israel. Make sure to build relationships and maintain those at home. Okay, we are here for you. You can contact us. And you have the Viber group. Use your friends who came here with you, other caregivers who are here. Okay, and take care of yourself. And now I like to remind you, like I said at the beginning of our meeting, that was our final meeting for this particular program. Okay, but we will have other meetings, additional meetings in the future, and we will contact you, and I want to invite you to join those meetings as well. Okay. Now, thank you very much, everyone. It's been lovely meeting you all, and we will see you again. So thank you, everyone.
Bye. We say behatzlacha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Behatzlacha. Have good luck. Behatzlacha.
Bye,
Be
everyone.
successful. Behatzlacha means be successful.
Behatzlacha.
Behatzlacha. Very difficult word to say. Behatzlacha. Right. Bye, everyone. Best of
Thank you so
luck.
much,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you for everything.
Bye-bye.
Nag-reply na siya?